Welcome to the presentation of my sword fighting prototype. My name is Mark and I have developed a sword combat system that can be controlled exclusively with the analog sticks and thus offers many possibilities in the offense and defense. First of all, about the development. From me comes the game design, the programming, the rigging of the character and all the animations. The character and the sword mesh are free assets from the internet, and the level is the third-person test level of Unreal Engine 4. That said, the prototype was created in Unreal, the rig and the animations in Maya 2018. At first, let's briefly mention what else is available besides swordplay. The face buttons can be used to perform strikes, a defense sway move, and various special strikes. The left shoulder buttons are used to equip melee and ranged weapons, similar to the Resident Evil remakes. The same way here, holding the left trigger to equip the pistol, where there is none yet, with the right analog stick to aim and with the right trigger to fire the pistol, as it is quite common in third-person shooter. The right analog stick controls the camera in the normal mode. In aiming mode, holding the left trigger draws the ranged weapons. Holding the left bumper equips the sword on the back and the character enters the blade mode. Now the right analog stick no longer controls the camera, but the movement of the sword. This is all done completely analog, based on various vectors, the calculated speed, the radius and the division into circle parts, based on the calculated numbers of degrees. The sword exactly and directly mirrors the position and movement of the right analog stick. If certain factors are given so that the sword pauses briefly at one point, the posture goes from the hood posture to the strike posture, from which strikes can be executed when the stick is released. It is also possible to cancel those strikes again and return to the hood stance by moving to another hood at a radius. This way feints would work as well. There have already formed terms like hooten, which are postures from the historical fencing with a longsword. For example, vom Tag, Alber, the Ox, and die Pflug. The complete game is designed to imitate historical fencing with a longsword, both in ways such as the Hootenlauf, the circling with a sword through the postures, or hooten, as well as the correct representation of the strikes, such as the Oberhau, the Mittelhau, and the Unterhau from both sides. It is very likely that this prototype is the game that imitates this the most accurately so far. It has been extended with liberties such as the visible lung over time when the stick is held longer in one direction, which makes the blow stronger and also fires faster, that is, with more force. This mix of real-world and game features can also be seen here in the defense posture, which is selected by holding the right bumper within the blade mode. The parries present in real-world fencing are supplemented here with the addition of a controllable 360-degree block, as it is common in games, except that you still have to circle the blade in the right direction to defend. Again, completely analog and directly imitating the movement of the right analog stick. Being in the defense stance already offers more protection. Parries are executed from the center outwards in 8 directions and are subject to a timer. On the right side is the clearest to see when the parry turns into the block, but that happens everywhere when the timer runs out. Since this movement is also completely analog, it is possible to move the stick so slowly to the edge that the timer runs out before you reach the maximum radius. This can also be observed very well. This leaves designers a lot of options to control the parries. Does it only apply between certain times of the timer? Is the maximum radius included as a variable as well? Many possible approaches are covered. Since this is a comprehensive combat system, not only strikes from historical fencing are present, it also includes famous attacks from gaming history like Dante's High Time and Stinger. These are also executed as known from DMC. Here the left analog stick is used as well, and thus the running direction is also taken into account. These strikes have been placed here on the lower hood, the Alber, where a stab is executed without any forward or backward movement. High Time Dante's Launcher is executed by an attack while moving backwards. In this case, a launcher and/or block breaker is performed in the same way instead of the normal stab. Stinger, Dante's lunging stab, is performed by an attack while moving forward. In this case, the lung is performed in the same way. Consider that in this hood, besides standing, going back and forth, the left and right movement could still lead to other strikes, and there are 8 Huten. This means up to 40 attacks can be accommodated in this way without having to be a combo. Should diagonal movements still be taken into account, this would be even more. Next to famous attacks from character action games, famous attacks from fighting games are added as well. In this case, quarter circular attacks, like Ryu's Hadouken, which was taken directly into the prototype with another example of a quarter circular attack, this time in clockwise direction. These are more complex to implement but offer another layer beside the walking direction attacks. Here, as well as in the famous Street Fighter, a timer is used, which means that quarter circle movements must be executed precisely and quickly to create a successful special attack. There are even some advantages here compared to the Great Roll model. On the one hand, you still are able to move freely around. The circle movements are already an integral part of the combat system, even without the special attacks due to the Hutenlauf. If the movement has been executed correctly, this is made clear by a special posture on the Hut, which differs from the normal Hut stance. If you let go of the stick, the special attack is executed. If you stay longer in the Hut and the attack window closes, you will still execute the normal attack. And as with all attacks, these 2 points also apply here. The player always sees exactly how the strike is executed just by observing the movement. And secondly, players do the anticipation of the attacks themselves. As you could already see in this video, there are many gradations concerning the running speed, based on the posture. The simpler the stance, the faster you can move. So you can move fast in the basic Hut, the so-called Sprechfenster in blade mode, than if the sword takes one of the other Huten at the edge of the circle. It gets even slower when it changes to the slash posture, when the character is able to strike. And during the slash itself, the character makes the appropriate forward or more rarely backward movement that would have to be made during the actual strike in fencing. This is often overlooked in games. In the defense stance, the movement is fundamentally slower with similar gradations, so when blocking, you move the slowest and even stop at a brief moment of the parry. Similarly, there are many gradations in regaining lost stamina, shown by the green bar. Thus, the stamina is replenished faster the easier the posture is. Here too, there are up to 8 gradations based only on the stance, and in addition, moving has a negative effect on the stamina recovery. This means that blocking and moving at the same time gives the least stamina back. When it comes to stamina consumption, there are the usual cases like strikes, blocks and parries. But the fact that you control the sword at all times resides in a unique factor, namely that the pure movement of the sword also drains stamina. And the faster you move the sword, the more stamina it costs. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions or suggestions, please don't hesitate to contact me. In the spirit of interactive animation, I will say goodbye with an improvised wave motion. Thank you for your attention. Goodbye.